I am back in the office this week after some time of being away with family. The pandemic prevented our trip to Hickory, North Carolina in June, but we met up with our daughter Molly and her husband Sean in St. Louis. We spent several glorious days helping them move into their home near the seminary, where Sean will complete his final year. And Molly will teach first grade at St. John's Lutheran Church in Arnold, Missouri. Along with enjoying family time and evening walks, we also went downtown to see the Arch. And while we were there enjoying the riverfront, we saw an unusual sight. There was a man dressed in all white, holding a Christian flag and standing as still as a statue. I was very curious. Was this a crazy person? Was it a protest? Was he some radical religious guy who was giving us all a bad name for his extreme views of faith or government? Who's to say? I was curious, but not curious enough to engage him in a conversation at that time. After all, we're just there to see the sights, and he was one of them. But later, I went online and checked him out from a Google search, and he has quite a story. His name is Brad Lee, and as a younger man, he had led a life far from God and His ways. But one of his dear friends at that time was diagnosed with cancer and became very sick and was not expected to recover from her illness. This sent Brad into a tailspin in life, and in his desperation, he cried out to God for help. But during this desperate time, God grew a more mature faith in him and allowed Brad to see that God wasn't simply a divine fix-it man in the sky. He grew a faith in Brad that saw the value of being in a real day-to-day relationship with God and of being in His Word and prayer. And in reading God's Word, Brad took to heart how Jesus had compassion on people and in their brokenness, in their needs. And his friend was still suffering from cancer, so Brad fasted and prayed fervently for his friend. And even though she was initially only given 3 months to live, God had mercy on her. And not only did she live beyond the 3 months, but eventually was cured of her cancer. I know, it's a miracle. Brad saw this merciful healing not only as the grace of God, but also as his personal commissioning to pray for others who need the grace of healing from the Lord. So, every Sunday, he dresses in all white, grabs his Christian flag, and positions himself for several hours on the steps of the St. Louis Arch to engage people in this kind of conversation and to pray for them, for those who ask. He's been doing this for 10 years. And rather than shaking our heads and wondering if there might be a better way, why not ask yourself, what am I doing to bear witness? What am I doing to pass along the grace, mercy, healing, and goodness of Jesus? Perhaps our decades-long practices need to be reviewed as well. Like the hermits and desert fathers from the early Christian church, whose practices seem very strange. Keep in mind that history still tells their stories of faith, and that people like Brad challenge us to stand out and to stand up to bear witness to the living God. So how might Jesus be calling you into a more day-to-day relationship of being in His Word and prayer and service to others in His name? Well, thanks for listening to today's message. And as I conclude, I would like to share some of the progress being made with the deep and wide renovations and expansion. At the Tyler campus, the mixed area bathrooms will soon be completed early next week, and then we will be moving into the sanctuary the 1st of September. And the Maple construction is full steam ahead as the ministry wing begins to take 3D shape. And do mark your calendars for Sunday, September 13th, as we resume in-person Bible classes and Wednesday, September 9th, as we open a new year of Common Ground. Stay tuned for more details on both of these ministries as we make plans on resuming during the ongoing pandemic. Blessings on your day. Hope to see you all this weekend in worship.